we do affordable housing in a way that is sort of private sector oriented. We do the carrot approach, not the stick. We don't tell developers, this is what you have to do. We tell developers, look, we want to be a part of your capital stack. We will do, we'll give you $1 for every $15 that you invest in the project, or every $20 you invest in the project. And the only caveat for our dollar is you got to maintain rents at a certain level for a certain period of time. That's it. It's a carrot. You want the carrot? This is what you got to do to get it. If you don't want it, it's okay. We're not going to force you.
So they can build either way.
Absolutely, 100%. They can do market, or if they want to do something different, they can do affordable housing. And we have built, and we will build, probably between $4.5 and $6 billion of affordable housing over the next 5 to 10 years here in Miami, in addition to the supply.
What kind of pushback do you get from the Democrats here when you're doing some of these things? So you're lowering taxes, you're putting police on the street. I mean, one thing for sure that I notice here is that when I go to New York and I see cops all over the place, to me it's a sign that something is not right. When I go here and I see cops, whether it's in South Beach or down where I am, it's like, oh, they're patrolling and just making sure everything's okay. It's a huge difference in mentality.
And I think the other difference in mentality is we support them. Right, I think in other cities they don't feel supported. What you got to understand is right now in America, being a police officer is the hardest job in America. It's harder than being a roofer. Okay, there isn't a job in America where you get paid less money, with more scrutiny and more risk, right, and more at stake, and being asked to do more things because now they're being asked to be social workers. I mean, it's really, really hard to be a police officer in America, and I think fundamentally, number one, they need to be protected. They need to be sort of supported, right? Number two, they need to be well paid, right? Like anybody in life, right? Like you've got to support them financially because they've got to take care of their kids. They want their kids to go to school just like you do, and so we've been blessed. And then you have to have a lot of police officers because it creates a deterrent effect. We've given them a ton of technology to help them leverage their sort of force multiplier, and all of that has been incredibly successful in maintaining our homicide rate where it is.
What are some of the stresses of having all these people move here? I mean, house prices for sure. You mentioned they're lower than New York, but it's tough to get a place here. And one of the things I'm always worried about, and I see emails from this, is that people that are the OG Floridians who have done it right and lived here for a long time, they're suddenly feeling, oh, we could get priced out because all of these rich people from LA and New York,
look, we are a victim of our success, right? What happens is, first of all, you have historic inflation. So here's a problem with government saying we're going to solve the inflation crisis by giving everybody money, right? So you're in a level where we're at historic inflation. If you look at urban America right now, not just Miami, urban America, rents are up 25% or more in every urban city, big city in America. Miami's more like 35, 45%. Why? Because you layer on top of that a hyper demand where people are just fleeing, getting the heck out of places where they think they're not wanted, or where they think they're getting taxed to death, or where they think the economy is moving away from. So
I know the feeling.
You have all these things happening, right? And so that is definitely putting pressure on Miami, no doubt about it. I would be lying if I didn't say that were the case. But what makes us different, and why will we thrive in the face of that stress? A couple of things. One is New York is completely built out. I think they built the last building in Park Avenue in the last 50 years, just got built, right? San Francisco is artificially constrained, right, with their zoning code. Miami has the ability to grow 10x. We're in a neighborhood right now, Wynwood, which has explosive growth. You see it when you walk out of here.
You can feel it here.
You can feel
it.
It's
ready to happen.
We have the ability to grow. The delta between what's built and what can be built is a 10-to-1 multiple. So we can supply ourselves at a level where, where we can keep prices relatively low. We have, just to give you some numbers, about 185,000 dwelling units in the city proper. In the pipeline right now to be built in the next 24 to 36 months, we have 47,000 dwelling units. So that's a 25% increase in our entire building stock. So that's number one. Number two, we do affordable housing in a way that is sort of private sector oriented. We do the carrot approach, not the stick. We don't tell developers, this is what you have to do. We tell developers, look, we want to be a part of your capital stack. We will do, we'll give you $1 for every $15 that you invest in the project, or every $20 you invest in the project. And the only caveat for our dollar is you got to maintain rents at a certain level for a certain period of time. That's it. It's a carrot. You want the carrot? This is what you got to do to get it. If you don't want it, it's okay. We're not going to force you.
So they can build either way.
Absolutely, 100%. They can do market, or if they want to do something different, they can do affordable housing. And we have built, and we will build, probably between $4.5 and $6 billion of affordable housing over the next 5 to 10 years here in Miami, in addition to the supply.
Can you also talk about the homeless situation? Because there basically isn't a homeless situation, at least compared to other major cities. So Florida, it's pretty nice. Seems like people would want to come down here, right? So
don't give them any ideas.
Yeah, no. I mean, what have
I'm
you
sure
done?
a lot of them watch your podcast.
Yeah. 20% of my audience is homeless. It's weird.
So, look, we're blessed. We have systematically invested, and we did it in a way that was really smart, right? So we have something called the Homeless Trust, and it is a tax, right? We don't like to pay taxes, but this is a tourist tax. So this is for people who are coming to Miami, staying in hotels. They pay 1% on their bill, right? And it funds a homeless trust. So basically, our visitors, not our residents, are paying this tax. Our visitors are basically paying a tax that goes to help what I call the least, the last, and the lost, the most marginalized in our community. And so, what have we done? We built a decentralized set of centers that give them alcohol treatment, drug treatment, mental health treatment, and vocational training, right? In addition to that, we're spending over the next 2 years about $7 million in a plan that I call Functional Zero. So we have 640 homeless right now. 640, according to our last census. That's it. That's it.
Wow.
But I want to be at zero. Because I don't think any city in America has really, big city has really challenged themselves to get to zero. And I think that if we create a model, then it can be certainly exported, right, to the rest of the country that are dealing with tens of thousands of homeless in their cities.
Yeah. And again, this is one of those things where I just see these other mayors. It's like, why don't you just look at Miami and fix things? I went to Denver.
Yeah.
I did not, Denver is not San Francisco.
Yeah.
Denver is not
And I love
LA.
the mayor of Denver. He's
but I was like,
Hancock.
but what's going on here?
Look, I think I had a mayor, and I won't say who it was, from a big city, one of the top 20 cities in America, tell me recently, we just waited too long. We didn't do what you guys did. We used to have 9,000 homeless. We brought it from 9,000 to 1,000, right? And 1,000 is in the county, which is 2.8 million people. Only about 600 of that 1,000 is in the actual city proper, which is my jurisdiction. So we did it through this decentralized network. A lot of these cities just didn't do it. And then, of course, we're seeing a lot of mismanagement, I've heard some crazy statistics in California where people are paying like $400,000 or $500,000 a homeless or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just money there's no controls. It's rife with, a variety of problems. And so that obviously is not going to work.
Let's talk a little bit about the hurricane situation, because obviously Hurricane Ian ended up hitting Southwest Florida. We're obviously in Southeast Florida, but at first it was going to hit here.
Yep.
Obviously, hurricanes do hit Miami.
Yeah.
You've been tweeting about it and doing all sorts of stuff. What do we need to know for the Miami and the future of Miami and who's going to come down here, or to Florida in general, when it comes to these storms and all this stuff?
So to be honest, and I'm again as president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, I led a delegation to the Gulf Coast to see all the cities that were impacted in the Gulf Coast, and it was devastating. And there's two things that I think everybody needs to know. Thing number one is, for every dollar that we as a community, as a country, spend on the front end in resiliency investment, we save $7 to $8 on the back end. So I was just at a podcast today, at an interview where they were saying that Senator Rubio is advocating for $33 billion of spending for hurricane relief. So my point is, if we would have spent $5 billion on the front end, we could have potentially saved $25 to $30 billion on the back end.
You're talking about building new structures.
I'm talking about things like
buildings.
I'm talking about things like urban reservoirs, pumps, increased seawalls, backflow preventers. These are all the things that we're doing in Miami right now. Okay, in Miami, we post Hurricane Andrew, which was in 1992, which was a 200-mile-an-hour wind event, we basically made Miami the most wind-resilient city on the planet. Like, we're a bunker, right? The problem now is water and water volume. What we've seen in the last 2 years are two events that, frankly, are super frightening. Ian and Dorian, I don't know if you remember Dorian from a couple years ago. Dorian was a Category 5 that sat on top of the Bahamas, never touched continental U.S. That I'm aware of, maybe up north, but certainly didn't touch Florida. And it produced 25 foot of storm surge. So Ian has produced 10 plus foot of storm surge. You're talking about 25. So Mother Nature has just shown us two massively destructive events that no city in the world is prepared for. Period, full stop. Yeah. We've got to start being creative. We've got to start, one of the great things about this country is its innovative spirit. Right, it's ability to solve problems, complex problems. Right, we get thrown challenges, we solve them. We're the first country to invent, a nuclear bomb, during World War II. Right, which obviously, as heinous as it was, we used it and it ended the war. It could have saved, who knows what would have happened if we didn't have that technology. We have always been a country that finds a way to solve big problems. And this is a big problem.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.